Good evening, everyone. I introduce myself. My name is Marina Lombardo, and I'm partner of the tax firm WTS R&A, member of WTS Global, and I'm the head of our service line, Sustainability and Tax. I would like to welcome you on behalf of myself and all the panelists, and thank you for your participation that really has gone beyond our expectations, because we are more than 100 people from more than 10 countries. In this room, there are lawyers, tax consultants, there are entrepreneurs, members of the board of directors and board of auditors. So I think it is a beautiful sign of a global and cross-competencies interest on the topic that we will deal with this evening. But today we don't want to offer you another conference about sustainability. We will not speak about the 17 goals and reporting standard and so on, because we want to understand with you how to make sustainability a business opportunity for all of us. Okay? We advise companies in different areas, in tax, labor law, commercial law, financing, and all this area has got an ESG side to promote. Even taxes, I assure you. We know that in recent years we have seen, however, that living the fate of our world, our planet, and our society to the personal ethics is a not winning move. We need the intervention, we need the action of the international institution, because they need to take action touching the weakest point of the business community. I mean, the reputation of the company, the value of the company, and money. So that's why now we are in a legal and regulatory environment in which the implementation of the ESG criteria in the business strategies impacts important factors, such as just, for example, the access to the credit, the cost of financing source, the value of the company, but also the tax burden, the relationship with the tax authority, the relationship with the employees, the risk management and control, the value of the brand. So all these topics are part of our daily work, daily job as consultant of the company. So now we can use our broad competencies of all the people present in this room to create an ESG transaction project with our clients, which maybe unknowingly already implemented business strategies, sustainable business strategies, but without a formalized path, they are not be able to take advantages of these strategies. So let's start with the first part of our program, focus on the European approach to the impact of ESG factors on the corporate strategies, by taking the opportunity to have here with us Professor Alain Devalle, and I will ask Alain to take stock of the European legal and regulatory environment of sustainability in order to understand the driving role of the international institution to promote the sustainable development and a change of mindset of the economic actors. So, Alain, please, I leave you the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Marina. Thank you, Alessandro and Elena Cristiana, for giving me the opportunity to be here to discuss the European Union approach to ESG. First of all, I would like to start from an introduction of the performance, the ESG performance in the company activities. I mean, first of all, because it is important to understand and to underline that until a few years ago, companies communicated almost exclusively financial information, such as EBITDA, return on equity, return on investment, earning per share, and so on. And this information was mainly directed at shareholders. But in recent years, however, there has been a shift in the values to be disclosed to the stakeholder, because only the shareholder are not enough. We need to disclose, companies need to disclose information to all the stakeholders like banks, suppliers, consumers, and so on. And these values, these new values, includes not only EBITDA, quantitative information, financial information, but also qualitative and quantity information that refers to environmental, social, and governance issues. In other words, the disclosure of ESG factor has become important for all the stakeholders that relates to the company. The problem of ESG for companies, one of the problems, in this context for companies, is that ESG could be risks or opportunities. It depends. But first of all, if we think at the performance, we need to measure ESG risk and performance. And this is not so easy. So what we are assisting is that many companies are disclosing more information, but at the end the question is if this information is relevant for all the stakeholders. In this context, the European Union tried to push the economy and the companies versus a more sustainable economy. And the European Union think that climate change and environmental degradation are an existential threat to Europe and the world. To overcome these challenges, and I'm reading now the objective of the European Union that you can read on the website of the European Union, the European Green Deal will transform the European Union into a modern, resource-efficient and competitive economy, ensuring no-net emissions of greenhouse gases by 2050, economic growth decoupled from resource use, no person and no place left behind. So I think that it's a strategy not so easy to reach. To do this, 1/3 of 1.8 trillion investments from the Next Generation EU Recovery Plan and EU's 7-year budget will finance the European Green Deal. So this means that there is a huge amount of money to push the activities in order to invest money in more sustainable activities. And to do this, the European Commission has adopted a set of proposals to make the European Union's climate, energy, transport, taxation policies fit for reducing net greenhouse gas emission by at least 55% by 2030. We have to consider that Europe contributes to the 10% of all emission in the world, approximately 10%. So this means that we are reducing the 10% of all the emission. And then it will be interesting to know about what USA is going to do on this floor. The Green Deal has acted through regulation on several fronts. On one hand, as you can see also from the chart, it has imposed to companies, large companies, not listed, but also listed companies, to disclose information about ESG factors. But the new regulation, the CSRD, requests also to disclose the impacts of these factors on the company in terms of revenues, cash flows, and net financial position. So a company has to identify risk and opportunities on cash flows, revenues, and so on. So you cannot only say that you have produced 10 of CO2 emissions. You have to say how do you want to reduce, what is the strategy, and how would be the investment you have to do to reduce your CO2 emission. So on one hand there is this approach to companies, then on the other hand there are some laws that refers to banks, in particular European Union has requested to the banking system to redirect financial resources towards more sustainable businesses. So also company, also banks, we will see they have to move money, a lot of money, from sectors that are not sustainable to business that are more sustainable. But there's the question, what does sustainable mean? What is an activity that is sustainable? The answer from European Union is the EU taxonomy. That is a common classification of economic activities significantly contributing to environmental objectives using science-based criteria. So you have to check if your activity is aligned or not, or eligible to the taxonomy. A company has to disclose if the investment, if the capex, the capital expenditure is making, will make, is aligned or eligible or not with reference to the taxonomy. If we look, for example, at Adidas, it discloses in the financial report that is doing zero of sustainable capex, eligible or aligned. If you look at, for example, the automotive sector, the 15% of capital expenditure is aligned and the 5% eligible, and so on. So you have to discuss, because in the creation of value for stakeholders, it is important to know where you are investing your money, and not only. This is, I mean, the opportunities, but there are also several obstacles. Here in this chart you see some discussion points because we can say that ESG we have and we need to face the ESG problem, but there are some obstacles. I mean, for example, while there is a general consensus on the need to reduce CO2 emissions, the cost of electric cars is currently unsustainable for people because the cost is too high. As many of you know, Torino is the home of Fiat, now Stellantis, but also Lavazza, Juventus, Torino Football Club, and some other things. But Fiat, of course, is the biggest company we had. But if we consider a city car like Fiat 500, as you can see here, the left side is the electric version, very nice car. The cost is 35,000 euros. The traditional car, the traditional model on the right, the cost is 20,000 euros. The Fiat 500 electric plant here in Turin has been closed for months because no one is buying the electrical Fiat 500, leading to devastating social impacts because workers have not their job. So it is easy to say from tomorrow all of us are driving an electric car. But the problem is who will buy this electric car, a city car, at 35,000 euro. Traditional car manufacturers are facing competition from Chinese companies that can produce electric cars at significantly lower costs. The banking sector plays a crucial role in this context. Among other things, it is tasked with steering financial resources towards greener sectors, and of course sometimes at the expense of the other sector. Furthermore, ESG financial products, for example green bond, are an opportunity for investors and the savers. Investors and savers are being asked if they want to invest in ESG products. And what is the answer? Is yes, okay, but the profit should be the same or higher than the traditional product. Of course, this is business. So it's not so easy to find funds in order to push this transition. In reality, what I think is that a profound shift in mindset is necessary, but this clashes with the very short, perhaps too short, I think, timelines for transition of this scale, aiming to reduce social impacts. It is also necessary to consider the difficulties that states have in financially supporting green investment, for example, state aid for the purchase of electric cars. So, for many SMEs in Italy and across Europe, ESG represents a risk that is partially underestimated and partially difficult to manage due to the investment required for the transition. In any case, the path towards sustainability is laid out and we owe it to future generations, but the journey is full of challenges that it will be a pleasure to discuss with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Alain, for the insight you have provided us. So I will pick up the impact of these regulations.